afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. A guy called Billy said that by the time a man is wise enough to watch his step, he's probably too old enough to go anywhere. And that's why I've had research being highlighted in this conference most of the time, because research helps us to understand where we are stepping before we build products, before we create any solution. Smallholder farmers account for 80% of the food that we eat on a daily basis. And that's why we cannot carry out any conversation about food security without discussing how we're going to empower these smallholder farmers to create more, to get more revenue, to plant more food, to become more sustainable. Today I'm presenting to you a discussion on enhancing affordable water access and resilience to climate change through pay-as-you-go water solar pumping and conservation of water conserving irrigation methods. And I'm presenting this with the contributions of my colleagues Norman Chege and Stephen Wambua. My name is Brian Nyagol. I'm an engineer by profession and a software engineer by passion and practice. My work has seen harnessing of IoT to create solutions that make engineering systems more sustainable and also increase the remote support of engineering solutions. I love software and I use it to create a sustainable future. I'm a one-time TEDx speaker, and you can watch my first TEDx talk on YouTube that talks about why I have embarked on a journey of innovation and entrepreneurship. So through this discussion, I want to highlight to you our thought process in creating and delivering a solution to smallholder farmers. It starts with understanding their needs. What really do they need to get where they want to go? And finding where it pinches, then investigating the causes of the pains that they have on a daily basis as they go through what they go through. And then crafting a solution that fits their needs and alleviates their pain. Lastly, we go through a process of creating a sustainable supporting framework that allows them to continue with what they're doing in a sustainable way. But really, what is the problem? Why are they suffering? Why are 80% of Africa's and the world's farmers not well established to create more food for us? Why are we afraid? It's because 83% of the cultivated land providing 60% of our food is rain-fed. The same rain that we hear is very scarce and very unpredictable. On the graph that you see, even if you will put all the inputs you want on rain-fed agriculture, it will only produce 50% of what irrigation can give you. And really, even with irrigation, even if you still want to use irrigation, there is still unsustainable dominance of fossil fuel energy sources that is used. I once had a walk in Isiolo where I found out that I visited 13 farmers in Isiolo, and 10 of them were using petrol pumps to pump water from shallow wells to their farms. It is unfortunate because, as you can see, there's a lot of increase in fuel prices. And again, all these farmers using petrol pumps were using surface irrigation, like flood irrigation and furrow irrigation. 95% dominance of this sort of ways of irrigation is very wasteful. Again, we might say that, well, why don't they adopt drip irrigation system? These are quite expensive, especially for low-income crops that these farmers, most of these farmers, cultivate. So now, it is not the end of the game. There are some opportunities, and the cost of energy produced by solar is currently going towards the less of $1 per watt. And again, I know that this is much to do with bigger solar systems, but even with irrigation and small solar systems, it could be about $2 or $3 at most. Down from 77 early in the days. But even better, the cost of petrol is increasing. In the past decade, it's gone twice the cost of petrol. We all know this and we feel it. And research is actually underway to make drip irrigation systems more affordable for farmers. And most farmers, some farmers who are using it already are crafting ways of creatively making it cheaper to use, like moving drip lines from one part to another during irrigation, because they know they don't have to irrigate the whole land at the same time. They can do it section by section. But what is the gap really? Why? And I'm sorry, this is not an updated presentation. This has a lot of typos. Sorry about that. But why is there a problem still? We feel that there is no holistic approach to solving the water problems that face the agri-food sector. And we have to understand what's going on. Smallholder farmers still spend up to 3,000 shillings per week. I mean, I know they earn quite a bit of money, but then 3,000 shillings per week on every pumping week on petrol is quite high. That is about 12,000 a month. They end up losing this 60% of this water by using flood irrigation, going to the drain. Smallholder farmers cannot still afford efficient, high-performance solar water pumping solutions to enable them get the output they need from these farms. Right? And existing flexible payment, I do know that the companies that are trying to make this their lives better, but then they are faced with problems of getting, producing low-performance pumps that lack comprehensive variety and even technical support, and sometimes adopt in flexible payment terms. So let me give you what our research and what our findings and what we are doing about it is all about, by creating an all-inclusive ecosystem of value that can add to the benefit of the smallholder farmers, to make them produce more and become better people, be better, to give us more so that we can alleviate the food insecurity. The problem of smallholder farmers cannot only be solved by giving a pump, by giving a solar pump. The problem of smallholder farmers cannot be solved by giving just inputs, but we have to look at it holistically and have it in a way that it creates more value for them and gives them the opportunity to continue producing this sustainably over time. And therefore, providing high-performance solar water pumping solutions that satisfy their pumping need and provide variety, so that every farmer has a different size of farm. The research we did in Gilgil, we found out that farmers have an average of 1.5 acres of land that they till. That's very small, and again, a big challenge to mechanization that we're talking about today. But compounding high efficiency and high quality solar water pumps with innovative pay-as-you-go financing options that gives them flexibility that mimic their revenue cycles creates more value, because they're able to say, I'm only able to spend this much today and spend this much tomorrow, and then when I get my harvest, I can put in all the money to owning this solution. And this is backed by technology, because solutions that provide pay-as-you-go need to be resilient enough to enable the farmers to have and only pay a small commitment on a daily basis that lets them understand they're paying for this solution to own it, but then also ask them to pay when they're getting value from it. And that's the thing that's the change that we think is deserved. And again, giving helpful bundled add-ons. You know that giving a farmer a pump is not enough. The farmer needs a tank, because they need to irrigate in the evening or in the morning when there's not so much sunshine to take away the water. So bundling on helpful input-based items like drip irrigation kits and solar structures and water tanks, these help them to create a whole system that they can use to make their work much easier, to make their output much bigger. And this helps them. When you spoke to the farmers in Gilgil, they said that having a solar water pump, having a tank, and having drip irrigation can help them not only increase their output, but gives them the capability to produce goods and farm outputs that they can determine their price and can give them more revenue. And when you do that to these farmers, you are giving them more capacity to produce more food. And I don't think if we do that, we'll ever be hungry as a country or as a continent. And this is just an example. Giving a farmer a solar water pump, like I said, is not enough. When you add a water tank, then what it does is that it enables this farmer to irrigate when it's most efficient. And when you add a drip irrigation system, then you're actually telling him that even the little water you pump during the day can be effectively used to water more land, to produce more sustainably. Now, going back to what I said, the process of creating a sustainable solution that gives smallholder farmers a chance to succeed involves three things, or rather four things, as you know it. One is creating or giving them access to high-performance solar water pumping solutions, then giving them the opportunity to access it, to widen the scenario to the products that they would rather not have been able to access if they were paying in cash. And even this financing solution has to be so intuitive and innovative that it enables them to mimic their revenue outputs from the farm, and gives them more power and control over the solution and their money, and that gives them more, gets them encouraged to get there. And then teaching them, training them on more water efficient technologies I'd not say that the kind of ones they use are not good, but they've used them for years, and they can tell you why it's important and why it works. But I can say that it's our job to ensure that they understand the benefits of going down through other water conserving irrigation methods. Let's engineer towards food security together. Thank you.